Right, so this is our first video. We're looking at expansion laws. So this is the first lesson in the first unit. Last week we looked at some things to do with laws of exponents, but this is slightly different with expansion laws. Okay, so let's see how this goes along. So what have we got? So we're looking at, it tells you here to remember, if you look at what we have written here, it says to remember that if you have x times 3, the way we'd normally write that is as 3 times x, put the number first, and 3 times x is just 3x. That's what it means. Same if you have y times y, that's written as y squared. And if you have g times h, that's gh. Alright, so the first thing we want to look at is the distributive law. So we're going to look at some problems here and see how they would work out for us. So the first one, if you have 2 times 2 parentheses 3x minus 1, that means 2 multiplied by 3x minus 1. So in all cases, I will ask you to attempt these problems, and then when you have them attempted, you play the video to see that your answer is correct and correct any mistakes that you may have made. So what that actually means is, this is 2 multiplied by the 3x minus 2 multiplied by the 1. So what you're doing is the 2 that's in the front, you're multiplying it by each of the things inside the parentheses. So you can see here, we're multiplying it by the 3x, and then we multiply it by the 1. So 2 times 3x is 6x, and minus 2 times 1 is minus 2. So that's our answer, 6x minus 2. Same with this one here. So what you're going to do is you're going to multiply the 5x by the 4x and by the minus 3. Okay, so hold on, let me bring that back over. So you do, I'm not going to expand it out the way I have in the previous one. So if you do 5x times 4x, well, 5 times 4 is 20, and the x times the x is x squared. And then 5x by minus 3 is minus 15x. Okay? So we continue. You can see the next one we have is 3x squared by minus 2x. So we're going to multiply the 3x squared. See what's in the parentheses with minus 2x minus 7. So the 3x squared is going to be multiplied by the minus 2x, and the 3x squared is going to be multiplied by the minus 7. So 3x squared by minus 2x, so 3 times minus 2 is minus 6. X squared times x is x cubed. And now we multiply 3x squared by minus 7, so we get minus 21 x squared. Alright. Now look on to part D, which is the last one here. So you have the minus x outside, that's to be multiplied by both inside. So minus x times 8x is minus 8 x squared. And minus x times minus 6, well, it's a negative by a negative, which gives us a positive 6x. And there we go. Alright, if you have any problems with these, raise your hand and I'll bring it to the top of the class and we can work on it in small groups just to go over it to make sure that there's no difficulties. So the next part we're going to look at is the product a plus b times c plus d. So this is a binomial times a binomial. Okay, it's an expression with 2 parts, a plus b, by another expression with 2 parts, c plus d. And you'll see if you multiply it out, what you do is the a here, which I've just underlined, has to be multiplied by the c, so you get ac. You multiply it by the d, you get ad. And then the b has to be multiplied by both as well. Okay, which is how it comes out into this little expansion here. But I'll show you how you can use it, right? So if you want to multiply these two things together, so look that we have x plus 2 times x plus 5. What you can do is, you can put x and 2 here, x and 5 here. Okay, so this little grid should help you to work it out, if you're not sure. Alright, this little box up here at the top isn't really necessary. So what you do is, you do x times the x gives you an x squared in this box. X times the 5 gives you a 5x here. 2 times the x gives you a 2x, and 2 times 5 is 10. So what you've got is x squared plus 2x plus 5x plus 10. And now we can simplify that because we have 2x's here and 5x's here, which gives us 7x. So x squared plus 7x plus 10. Okay? And you can use that grid for all of these examples if you want to, if you think you need to. But for some of us, we'll see that it's just quicker and unnecessary, really. So, for example, if you look at this one here, so x plus 4 by x minus 3. So I'm going to take this x, and I'm going to multiply it by each of these two things here. And then I'm going to take the plus 4 and multiply it by each of them. Alright? So if I start with x times x, it gives me x squared. X times minus 3 is minus 3x. Okay, so now the x has been multiplied by both of them. Now this 4 must be multiplied by both. So plus 4 times x is 4x. And plus 4 times minus 3 is minus 12. Now look, we just put them all together. So I have an x squared. I have a minus 3x and a plus 4x, which gives us just a plus 1x. And a minus 12. Okay. Let's look at the next one down. So what have we got? 2x minus 5 by 3x plus 2. So the 2x is going to be multiplied by the 3x and then by the plus 2, and then the minus 5 the same. So what have you got? 2x by 3x is 6x squared. 2x by plus 2 is plus 4x. Now we use the minus 5 on each of them. So minus 5 times 3x is minus 15x. And minus 5 times 2 is minus 10. And now look, we got 6x squared. And we've got the plus 4x and the minus 15x give us minus 11x, minus 10. Okay? So we're done with those ones. So let's move on to the next one. So we have similar examples of the same thing. It's a quick fly through. You should be able to try these yourselves, okay? So I'll do them really quickly. Actually, I won't even do these. I'm going to leave these to you to attempt. So just remember that the 4x here has to be multiplied by both of these, and then the minus 4 by both of them, and then we try to simplify by combining like terms. And the same with b. Okay, so they're up to you to try. We'll skip on to the next part, which is the difference of two squares. Right? And what it's telling you, if you see in parentheses a plus b, and then in the other parentheses it's a minus b, then your answer, when you expand it, is going to be a squared minus b squared. So if you look at this example here, so this is a minus b, so it's something plus 4, it's x plus 4 times x minus 4. So it's the same in each parentheses, but in one there's a plus and one there's a minus. See, that's the only difference between the two of them. So when you do that, your answer is going to be the first one squared, which is x squared, minus the second one squared, 16. Okay, so I'll write it out. It's going to be the first one squared minus the second one squared. So let's skip down and have a look at another example of how that one would work. Okay, we'll see here. So if you look, how do I know this is an expansion of a difference of two squares? Well, because it's the same thing, except there's a plus between them in one and a minus between them in the other. So it's something squared minus something squared when you expand it. Okay, so it's the first one squared minus the second one squared. So 3x times 3x is 9x squared minus 2 times 2, 4. Same works out for this one, look. Okay, and you just know it. It's a binomial where the only difference is that there's a minus between them. Or there's a minus between in one part and a plus in the other. So this is going to be 5x, and this is going to be 9. And you're going to get 25x squared minus 81. Now look, if you were to expand this like normal, if you were to do 5x times 5x, you're going to get 25x squared. 5x times 9, you would get 45x. If you did minus 9 times 5x, you get minus 45x, and then you would get a minus 81. Okay? And you would see then that the plus 45x and the minus 45x would cancel out, and you get 25x squared minus 81. So you can actually expand it out normally, or you can just recognize the pattern that it's a difference of two squares and use that. Okay? So, perfect square expansion. So what they're saying you can do here, if you have a plus b in parentheses and then a square outside it, it tells you that your answer is going to be the first one squared plus 2 times the first one times the second one plus the second one squared. So if you're not sure about that, right, you just recognize that a plus b squared means a plus b times a plus b, if you don't want to remember that pattern. So what you'll get is, you're going to do a times a is a squared. We're going to do this a times this b, which is going to give you plus ab. Now we're going to do this b times this a, which is going to give you ba, or we can just call it ab as well. And b times b is b squared. Okay? So it's going to give you a squared plus, now if you look, we have ab and we have another ab, so we have two of them. Okay? So you see, if you just expand it like normal, it gives you what the pattern tells you. Let's have a look at how this would work. Okay, so if we look at this one, we can use the pattern. We can say that a is x and b is minus 4. So our pattern tells you it's a squared, which means x squared, plus 2 times 2ab plus 2 times x times minus 4 plus b squared, and b is minus 4 squared. Okay, so it's x squared minus 8x, because 2 times x times minus 8 is minus 8x plus 16. That's our answer. Expanding it normally will also give that, so you can do as you choose. This one here, we're going to say our a is 3x, b is minus 5. So what are we going to get? So we're going to get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So it's going to be 9x squared. 2 times 3x is 6x. 6x times 5 is 30x. And there's our answer. So I'm going to leave the last one there for you to do yourself, okay? I'll move on to the really quickly. This is another example for you to practice, by the way. And that's it. Okay, so you can use the pattern, or you can just write x squared minus 5 in parentheses times x squared minus 5 in parentheses and work it out from there. Okay?